Our top story at this hour, in a big political move, the Supreme Court has now stayed UGC's new equity regulations. The court said that UGC regulations 2026 shall remain in abeyance and the 2012 regulations will continue. The Supreme Court stated that the provisions of the new equity regulations are prima facie vague and capable of misuse. The court remarked that Section 3C would bar persons from general category from complaining about discrimination based on place of birth, gender, although the definition of discrimination under Section 3E is wider and subsumes everything, including caste discrimination. The Supreme Court has asked Centre to redraft the regulations. Until then, its operation will be kept in abeyance. Chief Justice Surya Kant said if we don't intervene, it will lead to dangerous impact. It will divide the society and will have grave impact. The Chief Justice further went on to say that prima facie, the language of the regulation is vague and experts need to look into the language to be modulated so that the UGC rules are not exploited. Chief Justice also added that while examining the 2012 regulations, we cannot go further backward. There are at least 3 petitions challenge the constitutional validity of the University Grants Commission Promotion of Equity in Higher Education Institutions regulation for 2026. The petitioners contended that the regulations promote discrimination against general classes.
आज माननीय सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने जो यूजीसी रेगुलेशंस नए नियम पास किए गए हैं उस पर सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने रोक लगाई है, उसको एबियंस में रखा है और सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने अपनी पावर्स को एक्सरसाइज करते हुए अंडर आर्टिकल 142 जो यूजीसी रेगुलेशंस 2012 हैं उनको इन ऑपरेशन किया, उनको प्रभावी किया। अब सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने इस मामले में केंद्र सरकार को और सारे पक्षकारों को नोटिस जारी किया है और इस मामले की अगली सुनवाई 19 मार्च को निर्धारित की गई।
सर्वोच्च न्यायालय ने जो नए रूल रेगुलेशंस थे यूजीसी के उनको स्टे कर दिया गया है और 2012 के जो रूल्स हैं उनको दोबारा से लागू कर दिया है। कारण माना है जो हमारा लगातार आर्गुमेंट था सर्वोच्च न्यायालय के सामने के 3C जिसके अंदर जातिगत भेदभाव की बात की गई थी, उसमें जनरल कास्ट को छोड़कर बाकी सभी कास्ट को उसमें इंक्लूड किया गया था और कहीं ना कहीं ये दर्शाया जा रहा था कि जनरल कास्ट ही सिर्फ जो है वो टारगेट करती है और कास्ट को, उसको लेकर बहुत चिंता व्यक्त की है और कहीं ना कहीं जो डिवाइड करने की बात, समानता की हमारा संविधान बात करता है, लेकिन ये रूल रेगुलेशन जो है वो कहीं ना कहीं विद्यार्थियों को डिवाइड करने का जो मामला है उसमें सामने आ रहा है और ये सीजीआई ने बिल्कुल साफ साफ माना कि रूल रेगुलेशन में कमी है और इसको सोचना और देखना पड़ेगा।
That's the big story coming from the Supreme Court this afternoon, where the UGC regulations for 2026 have been kept in abeyance. Joining me on the show is Ashok Bharti, Chairman, National Confederation of Dalit and Adivasi Organizations. Also with us is Professor C.P. Sharma. He's an educationist. My colleague Brijesh Pandey is joining us live from Newsroom. Brijesh, I want to come to you first. Run us through the observations of the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has taken a hard view of the new equity rules by UGC.
Well, absolutely. I think, Supreme Court came down very heavily on central government and UGC. They went on to call the language which has been used in this particular bill very vague. And if you look at the, the observation which was made by Chief Justice of India, Surya Kant, he said that 75 years have passed since independence and we are still struggling with caste-based discrimination. Justice Bakshi added that, Article 15(4) empowers states to enact special laws for scheduled castes and scheduled tribes. But we understand your point. Why should a progressive law have a regressive approach? And based on these kind of observations, Chief Justice of India said that let UGC regulation 2026 remain in abeyance and 2012 regulation will continue. In this particular, Justice Bakshi also made a couple of very important points. He said that, I hope we don't go to segregated schools like United States where black and whites went to different schools. And Chief Justice accepted that this kind of situation can be exploited. So, then he asked the Solicitor General to think of a committee, to form a committee of some eminent person to look into it and, so that the society can grow together and with not such a differentiator. So, it's a big setback as far as the government of India is concerned, and the 2026 UGC bill has been put in abeyance, and it'll be very interesting to see how the government moves forward and who all gets to be part of that committee which the Supreme Court has asked Solicitor General to constitute.
All right, Professor C.B. Sharma, I want to come to you first, sir. Since the UGC came up with the new equity rules, the new regulations, there's been a massive, pushback from the general category people, especially from the students who believe that they will be targeted. Now, as of this afternoon, the Supreme Court also says that it looks like the new rules will be discriminatory. Do you agree with that observation of the Supreme Court?
We have been discussing this on your TV channel since the new regulations came. I was part of it, and I had criticized the University Grants Commission has completely buckled on this score, and it has put the central government in dock. I don't think the government is responsible. However, when the UGC takes such a decision, the government
is not responsible?
automatically comes into picture.
Professor Sharma, why do you think the government is not responsible?
Because the UGC is an autonomous independent body, and which takes decision on its own. Although it's unfortunate that the chairman of the UGC happens to be the secretary of Ministry of Education, but he is not obliged to take orders from the minister as the UGC chairman. So I take UGC as an independent body, and the decision of the UGC is not an order of the government. But the whole
the bill is framed by the government. Would it be wrong to say? But the bill.
No. Wait a minute. It is gazetted by the government, but decided by the UGC, and the whole document was prepared by the UGC. The government is nowhere in picture. But once the government, the UGC as a body decides on this, how does the government say yes or no? So I believe that once the UGC had issued this, the UGC had put the government in the dock. I don't think the government has.
All right.
Responsible.
Second,
right. I will definitely mention.
Okay.
Give me 1 minute. I had mentioned on your channel. Look at the draft document, and you will find 17 psychiatrists drafting the document. You didn't get one academic to be there. You don't consider it important to have professors or vice chancellors or teachers on that committee who can give you a clear picture of what a university is. You have collected people who are so prone to looking at delinquent people, and they thought that the universities are so delinquent, and they have told all those things. I'm very happy with the decision of the Supreme Court.
Right.
I cannot congratulate the Supreme Court more for such a brilliant decision, and we are so happy in the academia.
All right, Brijesh,
I just wanted to ask Mr. Sharma one thing, that he's completely absolving the central government of the gig. But why didn't the central government came forward and pointed out the same thing which, the learned judges of the Supreme Court pointed out about the sheer discrimination, the vagueness of the language. The government was defending it. I didn't see Dharmendra Pradhan or anybody else coming forward and trying to point out the vagueness of the language. Was there anybody from the government who pointed to that till the apex court did it?
I'm happy you asked that question. Look, I have mentioned UGC is an autonomous body, and it is not obliged to take decisions or direction from the government.
Sir, you didn't get my point. I'm saying UGC is an autonomous body. Did the government also pointed to the same discrepancy or the same vagueness of the language which the Supreme Court did?
Good. Once a body of the nation issues such a document and it is gazetted, that becomes a government document. I don't think really that this, let us go into a research on that. I don't think this was passed by either the Minister for Education.
Sir, again you are not getting my question. Mr. Sharma, I am saying, did the government objected to the vagueness of the language? Did the government, in any of the government, be the HRD minister or be any of the minister, there were a lot of protests which were going on. Did the government object to the vagueness of the UGC bill? I got the point that UGC is an autonomous decision, but did the government object to it? No, the government did not object to it.
I will give you an argument for that. Look at the statement of the Minister for Education, Dharmendra Pradhan. What did he say? That no person will be discriminated against.
Exactly. Okay.
The minister was.
But that doesn't amount.
What does that mean?
But that doesn't amount to saying that we don't agree with the bill or the language of the bill. I think what Brijesh essentially...
He agreed with the bill. He only tried to allay the fear that there will be no discrimination based on the law. But he did not say that the language of the bill is vague. He did not say that, we will reconsider or we will, reach out to the UGC about the vagueness of the language. He merely said that, that we will not discriminate or we'll make sure that there is no discrimination. The government was in agreement with the UGC bill.
That is why what I have said, that UGC has put the government in the dock without really informing. In this case, I agree with you. In this case, if I was the Minister for Education, I would have said the UGC has issued, they should defend it.